Okay, this one needs explaining. Welcome or welcome back to the Butter Bunch. My name is Jacob Butter, and I'm here to bring you another Dragon Ball What If discussion. A new Dragon Ball What If discussion. But first of all, we at the Butter Bunch never got quite around to thanking you all for 100 subscribers. Nor 150. Nor 175. And it's not that we don't appreciate the milestones, it's just that they happened around the time of a penning anniversary on my main channel, as I explained in my last video, and the anniversary in question, of course, being my ongoing gacha series, The Mutant Girl, the longest running gacha series on YouTube. But that anniversary special and all the day's events are done and dusted. It's time to respond to a particular thing that I've noticed happening a lot in the comments of these What If videos. And that is, you guys are kind of hopeless romantics. What I mean by this is that I see tons of messages on the What If Raditz and Nappa Turn Good series about potential future pairings that the Saiyans would find themselves in. Examples include Raditz and Tights, Raditz and Launch, obviously, Nappa and Maroon. What? I mean, what? So yeah, you guys are giving me a lot to think about once we get to that point in the story. But for now, I thought I'd do something to give you all the fix of romance you're all asking for. But instead of going forward, I'm taking things back to the original series. You see, back on January 4th, 2021, I was listening to a podcast by Sophie B. Powerhouse on the women of Dragon Ball, which, thank Dende, there are some people talking about that. The endpoint for most of the Dragon Ball female characters, the main ones at least, is one of the only things I generally despise about the series.
今も書いてらして奥様。
いや今はあんまり書けないみたいですね。まだこう結婚してキャリアがないもんですから家事で忙しい。名古屋の方。名古屋の方。そうです。できないとか。
漫画が。
容量が悪いんです。
すごいあれですね。奥様が漫画を描いてらっしゃるんだけど、結婚してキャリアがないから結婚に対しての、そっちにもう集中すると。
But you don't need me to go into it. Check out the original podcast up top or click the link in the description. Despite being fully invested in two people more qualified than I to talk about Dragon Ball, in general validating opinions that I had for years, there was one moment in the podcast that actually made me stop. The mention of a character by the name of Suno. Sophie B's guest, Lucia Lobos Villa, so I hope I'm saying that correctly by the way, suggested that because Goku and Chi-Chi's marriage promise came back so suddenly, and the manga had concluded when the anime was first airing, that the showrunners, creating the filler for the series, must have thought that Suno was Goku's intended pairing, and thus all of her appearances that were anime originals. This got my what-if brain turning. Up until this point, I haven't tackled any plot points from back in the original series, but I wanted to see how different things could turn out the further back I make a change. Heck, the whole reason I like what-ifs in the first place is that I'm a huge fan of the butterfly effect, and how simple moments can set in motion so many other differences that it results in a whole world of change, literally in this case, for better or worse. I've only gone as far back as early Z due to inexperience, but to tackle the original show? That to me is what it means to go even further beyond. In fact, turns out I was first introduced to Suno because of one of the manga chapters I mentioned my brother having, featuring her rescuing Goku in the freezing cold before entering Muscle Tower. And actually, my brother and I had a series we created with toys back in the day called Moses Karkaroff, heavily based on Dragon Ball. In fact, the main character of Moses was played by a figurine of Super Saiyan Kid Goku. Furthermore, when the character of Moses aged into Super Saiyan 3 Goku figurine, I based his wife off a stand-in for Suno, because the Muscle Tower story was one recreation we did. So even if the anime writers didn't think it would turn out the way it did, child me sure was convinced. So yeah, I'm very excited to try this idea out. After some rudimentary research, it seems like Suno is a much more docile person than Chi-Chi or even Bulma. So would Goku's Saiyan attraction to strong women apply here? At first I wasn't sure, but I found a series by Dragon Ball What If Bro after I finished the script, so you can check that out if you want. It actually gave me confidence this idea could work. Although there are a few things that I believe were missed out, which I'll go over once they arrive. For now, after the longest intro I've ever done for a What If story, let's begin to discuss what if Goku married Suno. First of all, I mentioned already how these two are an unlucky pairing due to how Saiyans experience attraction. They're evolved to pursue strong women as part of their instincts as a battle-hungry race. Suno isn't exactly strong in the conventional sense of Dragon Ball, Goku probably wouldn't be attracted to her if things remained as in the original. So, instead of dealing with Goku's attraction to Suno, let's first address Suno's attraction to Goku. And that's much easier to do. You can kind of see hints of that happening in the series, the way that she blushes and fusses over Goku. In reality, that may have been because he was a shy character, but in this scenario, something will come of that. And I have seen things that have said that Suno had a crush on Goku at the time. I'm not sure, but we'll roll with it for now. After the events of Muscle Tower, Goku parts ways with Suno and Eita like before, moving on with his adventure. The young girl watched him disappear from view, but the memory of that simple, joyful, mysterious monkey boy did not fade as easily. This story stems off from when Goku departs for West City, promising Suno that he'll visit again. The same promise he gave Chi-Chi, mind you. And we all know how that went down. Goku's adventures continue as normal, but Suno doesn't know that. She just assumes, correctly, that Goku had just forgotten about her. And that breaks the little girl's heart. But even as months went by, she couldn't get him out of her head. That strange yet brave and pure monkey boy from all those years ago had left a lasting impression on her. And didn't he on us all? Since he'd been gone, Jingle Village just felt a little colder. Eventually, all this waiting around got the better of her. One fateful day, she decided enough was enough. She's made her mind to head out to the place she knew Goku had gone before. West City. The villagers, especially her mother, begged her not to go. Chances were Goku had already moved on and wouldn't still be there waiting for her. But Suno had already thought of this. If worst came to worst, she could just stay there with her cousin Shinseki. What's that? Where on earth did that idea come from? Well, in the PSA video Goku's Traffic Safety, Suno is at West City anyway, to visit that same cousin of hers. When I looked into how many of these filler appearances Sophie talked about, there actually weren't that many. But this special did happen, so I'm running with that idea for now. The villagers agreed to let Suno go, as long as she takes Eita with her as company and protection. I know that Eita won't fight, but, he's still a scary figure. He's going to scare someone away, probably. Thus begins Suno's life in West City, of course staying with Shinseki, going out most days to look for Goku and even attend a school there, all while obeying the laws of traffic. One fateful day, as she and Eita were strolling a part of the city they hadn't been to yet, they come across a building that doesn't look like the others. It was a large dome with uneven windows, surrounded by plenty of greenery and painted like the sunset. She reads the logo and recognized it at once. It reads, Capsule Corp.
Look, Ader, it's that place Dr. Frappe told us about. Let's go say hi.
Eita agrees, and they enter the premises as unguarded as ever. Of course, it wasn't long before this giant piece of former Red Ribbon Army tech was discovered. A few of the employees scatter in a confused panic as Eita tries to assure them that he's a pacifist. His words fall on deaf ears, until one woman with crazy curly hair strolls up to the new arrivals.
Well, hello, strangers. What are you folks doing here?
Punchy either didn't know or didn't care where Eita had come from. She at least heard the pair out.
I'm Suno, and this is Ader. We're friends with Dr. Frappe.
Dr. Frapp? Oh my. I was unaware the man had any friends. Oh, you should meet my husband.
Well, that was easy. Dr. Breeze wondered how he'd never been mugged sometimes, though when the two guests lumbered into his indoor garden, he didn't worry. In fact, he found Eita in particular to be fascinating. Say, Mr. Robot Man, are you in the Red Ribbon Army? I was. I sense a story behind those words. You simply must tell me all about yourself. Are you aware of your processing unit? Your power output? Any secret blueprints to your design? As you can tell, the Doctor's getting quite excited at the chance to study the field of his only true competitors. Please join me in pursuit of knowledge.
Hey, can I join too?
Sure, whatever. Suno was a little annoyed by being brushed aside like this, but she didn't let it get her down, especially because, on one of the many subsequent visits to Capsule Corp, while Eita and the Doctor discussed AI and cybernetics, Suno discovered the brief family connection to Goku. Bulma's parents had heard stories from Bulma during the time they spent apart, which meant that Suno could stop aimlessly looking for Goku around West City. If there was one place he was likely to go, it was right where she was. Before I go any further, I'm not trying to portray Suno as some sort of obsessive stalker. Should things not work out the way she intended, she'd be prepared to back down and let Goku be. She just wanted to give him her best shot. not to obsess over him. Besides, since the worry of finding him no longer existed, she could focus on other things, hang out with either Dr. Briefs and Aita, Punchy, or the scientists employed by the company, learning all about their field of work. The scientists didn't mind. Suno wasn't an annoying child or anything. She was just happy and curious, and she really brightened up their days. It was like having another Miss Bulma around, except this one wasn't stuck up nor gave them a hard time. Speaking of Bulma, she of course returned at one point with her boyfriend Yamcha and his best friend Poir. Remember, we can't forget about Poir. Does Bulma take to Suno as the others did? Well, of course she does. Suno grows to outright adore her. So smart, pretty, and confident. Not to mention she bagged a fighter boy, and was Goku's first ever friend. Bulma began to really take to this young girl as well. More so than she had to Goku, acting like a big sister to her. And if you're wondering where I got that idea from, in Master Corrector's What If Goku Was Female series, he takes a similar approach to the iconic duo of Goku and Bulma. Except here, Bulma's less fascinated by Suno as she is preparing to show her the ropes. But she did respect the hell out of Suno's drive to see her crush again, even if she often teased her for it. After all, Bulma did travel the world to find 7 wish-granting orbs to possibly get her a boyfriend. How could she not see where Suno was coming from? The months went by, and the two girls, along with Yamcha and Poir, shared stories of Goku, which made everyone miss him even more. But they wouldn't have to wait much longer, as when Bulma's birthday came around, aka when the traffic PSA was set, Goku interrupted his training for the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai and came to visit. Side note, this is when the wiki said the PSA could have been set. In this scenario, Suno was in West City for the entire King Piccolo arc, so she missed the filler she was really going to be a part of. You know, the young girls picking flowers, licking furry, you know, that stuff, yeah. But that didn't matter. Thanks to Officer Totally Not Launch in Disguise, Goku finds his way to Capsule Corps, and everyone is reunited. And that is where we conclude things, for the time being. I feel like I might have rushed through this part a little. Originally my plan was to go through the original series as much as possible, arrive at the wedding and move on to Z next time. But yeah, if I'm to do this story any justice, I guess I've got to end part 1 of Goku marrying Suno before Goku marries Suno. I want to give you guys a long-lasting and entertaining story, as I always do, and the best stories always leave the audience wanting more. For now, I'm going to go finish that podcast. I hope you'll join me for the next part when that comes out. Until then, do subscribe to the channel and let me know what you think of this video by means of liking or disliking and leaving your comments on where the discussion could go. Now that we do indeed have, I think, 178 subscribers, my script is 139, so you guys are really crushing that goal. But now that we do have that number, and you guys are very active in the comments, I'm not going to write any more of this script until I have at least a few days worth of feedback. So you guys really do have a say in what happens from here on out. Just bear in mind that whatever you guys decide has to go from the training years before the 23rd Tenkaichi Budokai to a point where Goku and Suno have their inevitable wedding. That's the next part, basically. Bear in mind how old Suno is in comparison to Chi-Chi and even Goku himself. She's like 2 to 3 years younger than them. Other than that, I'll leave you all enough time to suggest things and work on that subscriber special. Dente knows I need all the help I can get this time. See you all soon enough for another Butter Bunch video. Toodlepip.